I cannot believe we're darn near a full month into the National Football League regular season.
Fast,
Welcome to another edition of Overreaction Monday with most of Week 4 already in the books. It's brought to you by Game Time, the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. I've got a promo code for you, Overreaction. Use it and you get $20 off your first purchase. Rich Eisen along with Chris Brockman. How are you, buddy? Christopher?
I'm great. Another wild week in the National Football League. Everyone is.
I kind of find this funny. And folks, certainly if you're listening, you're not aware of it. And if you're watching right now on our YouTube channel, we greatly appreciate you doing that. But Chris always has his overreaction subjects on a piece of paper that he turns upside down. So I'm not seeing it, and I need my glasses to see what's directly in front of me.
Right.
I don't, I don't think if you flipped it over,
that you could even read it.
Well, I mean, I could read it, but it wouldn't be like cheating on a test.
Yeah, but I don't want you to already start thinking about what you're going to say.
Why
while
would I do it though? I wouldn't do that.
I don't know. Maybe
like if you flashed
would.
your cards at me in a poker game, I would say I just saw your cards.
Right.
I would do that.
Well, would you tell me, hey, I saw that an overreaction?
I would definitely.
I just don't want you to get a head start thinking about what you're going to say before I say it.
But it's so insane. I don't think even a wheel spinning would be helpful.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Well, I'm still going to keep it face down. I'm still keeping it face down.
All I'm going to say is
it's like when you double down in blackjack. You like the deal face down, whether it's face down or face up, doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter.
I know, but I like it face down.
Why?
The drama.
Just delaying the inevitable?
Yeah. Well, no. If they bust and then, we won anyway. Like
That's so stupid.
Yeah.
It's not like the card's going to change.
I know, but it's fun.
At any rate, you do you.
Thanks.
It's time. Hit it. Go ahead.
That was terrible. That was crap. That was garbage. This place sucks.
Overreaction Mondays. Monday.
All right, Christopher.
I mean, that was stupid.
It is okay.
All right. I'm just gonna peel it back. Like I'm slow rolling it.
Okay. What do you got,
Rich? We saw it on Sunday Night Football. Forget the Bills. Forget the Texans. It was the Ravens all along. They are the biggest threat to the Chiefs in the AFC.
You know what? The biggest threat to the Chiefs in the AFC are the football gods that just keeps on chipping away at their roster. Rashee Rice now, at least it looks like they're going to get Pacheco back at some point in the season, right?
Yeah, some point.
That's the biggest threat right now. Last year, they didn't have Derrick Henry, and now they do. And the question is, will that be the difference maker? Is that going to be the difference maker? Is going into Arrowhead or having the Chiefs, if they go back into Baltimore for another playoff game, is Derrick Henry going to be the difference? Is that, and judging by the way that he ran against the Bills on Monday night, that is a credible thought.
Yeah.
It is credible to say that. What a shot this is on our YouTube channel right there.
And
Look
you can
at
see
that
the rain
picture.
coming down.
I know, and just
half.
his eyes so wide as he's going for 87 yards untouched, being ticketed for speeding in a 20-mile-an-hour zone as a 30-year-old, 230-pound dude. It's just, it's unlike anything we've ever seen before. And then when we see it, it's like seeing a comet in the sky. You're hoping you're going to see it again in your life. He is that good, and he does take away your soul when he does that to you.
I love that stat you had in the flagship show. It was the longest run in Ravens history.
87 yards.
But not the longest run in
Third longest run for him personally.
History. Like, that's so amazing.
Third longest run for him personally. I do believe he had almost a 100-yarder, like 98, 99 against the Jacksonville Jaguars one night. He used to do that regularly against the Jaguars. That's why they're glad that he's out of the AFC South. I'll just say at this point in time, it's an overreaction. It's all an overreaction until we see Tom Eaton ball right now in January. When they're in a winner-go-home game, who's going to beat them? Who's going to want to make the zero mistakes? Who's going to be the team to go into Arrowhead or have them come to their house and say, not today, it's our time here? Who's going to do it? Because we didn't see it last year when they were supposedly the team that was less than, and it was the team to go get him. It was the time to go get him, and last year we didn't see it. It's been 3 years since we have seen it, and
They play in the regular season? Do they play in the
on Sunday in who do the Ravens and the Chiefs play in the regular season?
They must, right? First place schedule.
They did already, dude. To start the season, as you all know. I mean, that's how crazy things are. But no, listen.
I was there.
I know.
Obviously.
We were there. But bottom line, Chris, is that is part of the reason why this game would take place in Arrowhead if they do face each other in the playoffs, unless the Ravens are one better than the Chiefs. Which could happen if Rashee Rice in his absence will be so significant and Hollywood Brown doesn't come back and Xavier Worthy's not going to come up with a 57-yard, just fly pattern, and so
sick.
The go balls might not work, when it gets colder. I don't know, but I'll just call this an overreaction at this point in time because – I understand them curb stomping the Bills makes them better than the Bills, even though they're a game behind them. And the Texans needed all, 4 quarters to take care of the Jaguars. But put it all together, it's really the football gods and the injury bug that is going to be the determining factor for the Kansas City Chiefs. Because at some point, it's going to be more than just a flesh wound, losing all those very important parts, I think.
I have an idea to fix that later.
Okay.
Next.
Yes.
Skull.
The Skull chant. Yep.
Best team in the NFL, the Minnesota Vikings.
You can't argue with that. I mean, again, the Chiefs are the team that just knows how to win regardless, knows how to close regardless. And the Vikings right now have played the best football we have seen. A quarterback who's won 4 straight, first guy to ever win 4 in a row with his new team to start the season by also throwing 2 or more touchdowns in each of them. Sam Darnold had 4 3-touchdown games or more in his career coming into the season. He has 2 in the last 2 weeks.
Unreal.
This team plays extremely tough defense. We did see Jordan Love and the Packers get their sea legs under them yesterday. On Sunday in Lambeau Field. And, you have to wonder, is that an issue? They will be next in London taking on an offense that was so, for the lack of a better phrase, so inconsistent and so poor in the New Jersey rain on Sunday. Makes you think that here come the Vikings for Aaron Rodgers, who was sacked 5 times. They had 10 offensive penalties, 5 pre-snap.
Yep.
The Vikings should feast on something like that, one would think. You never know. Maybe the Jets 6 days later in London from this broadcast will be better. But you can't argue right now that the Vikings are not the best team in the NFL. I don't think that's an overreaction. Will they wind up being that team later by the end of the season? I don't know. But through the first 4 games right now, they're doing it. And the only thing they haven't done is have to come back from something.
Yeah,
because
crazy
on the flagship
stat you had today.
Yeah, on the flagship show, I mentioned it. They have trailed through the first 4 weeks of the season a grand total aggregate of 3 minutes and 26 seconds.
That's bananas.
And the only team closer to them has trailed 27 aggregate minutes. They're the only team under 27 minutes
That's
total time trailing
unreal.
in football games for the first month of the season.
And it's not like they've been playing cupcakes. They beat the 49ers. They beat the Texans.
At
they
home.
beat at Lambeau.
Yeah. 3 in a row.
Wow.
You thought, okay,
impressive.
Congrats, you beat the Giants in MetLife.
Yeah, right. No big deal.
What are you going to do
whatever.
against the Niners?
Exactly.
And then what are you going to do against the Texans?
Exactly.
What are you going to do against Green Bay? How about win them all, too?
Yeah, bang, bang, bang.
And then hardly trail. Period.
Sam Darnold leads the NFL 11 touchdown passes.
That's correct. And meanwhile, going into the Monday nighter between the Dolphins and the Titans, if the Dolphins score first, that would be their first lead in regulation all year. They won their first game with no time left in regulation and haven't led in any of the games since.
Crazy. Weird season,
So,
man.
yeah,
Weird season.
I'll buy that one,
okay,
pal.
good.
I don't think that's an
All right, we're in. How about this one? We talked a lot about this team today. Rightfully so. Jaden Daniels, Offensive Rookie of the Year so far for the first month, right?
Is that your question?
You can make a case he's MVP. Rich, the Washington Commanders are going to win the NFC East.
I don't think that's an overreaction either. Obviously, we need to see what happens when Dallas gets full strength with their defense again. But even with the team full strength in the first 3 weeks before Micah Parsons went down on a Thursday night with Tank Lawrence, They didn't look deep on offense. They didn't look like they had a rhythm on offense. They didn't look like they were multidimensional on offense at all. You know who does? The Commanders.
Yep.
The Eagles are now on a bye week. I understand they got boat raced in Tampa on Sunday, and it certainly doesn't help when A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are out and the other team has Godwin and Mike Evans. But the Eagles definitely have not played consistent football. Definitely do not have a quarterback who doesn't turn it over. Definitely do not have a quarterback who is deadly accurate. You know who does? The Commanders. They also have the it factor going on in the way that Hurts had 2 years ago, the way that Dak had when he first came up. You know who doesn't have the it factor anymore? Those guys. You know who does? The Commanders. The coach has them all buying it. Dan Quinn comes in with his positive, sunny disposition.
Backwards hat.
Backwards hat. Cursing his head off and giving a game ball to Cliff Kingsbury, who dials it up for 40 points. Oof. I mean, the Jaden Daniels statistics are
ridiculous.
Are eye-popping.
Video game stuff.
They're eye-popping. And nobody's ever had a game in the Super Bowl era of 20 or more attempts and 80% passing, followed up by another game like that. Jaden Daniels just did it in back-to-back games. We're wondering, how are you going to follow up going 21 of 23? Well, he goes 26 for 30. And the Commanders, through 4 weeks, this stat for sure won't survive much longer, but have more scoring drives, 23, than incompletions thrown by their rookie quarterback, 19, through 4 weeks.
I mean, you do that in a game, I guess. Sure. 4 games?
So for over a full month.
Wow.
And the Commanders next month, home for Cleveland. They've got 3 home games in their next month. 3.
Okay.
Their only road game is at Baltimore. Now, again, I don't know in that cavernous, monstrous stadium in the suburbs of Virginia how much of a home field advantage they have, because the fans there haven't had much to feel like a home field advantage for. Like, I mean, Alex Smith going through his run of his height of his Washington tenure was the last time this team's been that good. I mean, the year that they almost made the playoffs, it was, who's going to finish better than 500?
Right.
With Ron Rivera. They're home for Cleveland, at Baltimore, home for Carolina, and then that big game home for Chicago before visiting the Giants. I don't think this is an overreaction right now. Who's going to start? Like, somebody's got to start playing better. Right now, through a quarter of the season, they're a game better than everybody else, and 2 over the Giants.
Yep.
2.5 because they've beaten the Giants.
Yeah, and like you said, what have the other teams shown? That they are more as consistent, as explosive?
I would peg the Eagles as the team that could give them a run.
But they've got the injury bug pretty bad.
Correct.
Yeah.
So let them get healthier.
Right.
Let's see what happens. But for the moment, the eye test will tell you, man. They
look good.
They have a kid quarterback playing like a grown-ass man.
Man, some of the throws that he was making on Sunday.
They're smart. They're accurate. They're in rhythm, too. They're not like he's not running for his life and then making, chicken salad. Yeah. They're in a scheme. They're on time, and they're accurate, and they're leading to yards after catch, and he's not throwing medicine balls where his guys get blown up. He's throwing touchdowns.
Yeah, and unlike Dallas and the Giants, I mean, Saquon has been great for the first month, but Brian Robinson Jr., Austin Eckler, Jeremy McNichols on Sunday.
Yeah.
Good running game to complement.
Yeah.
Terry McLaurin's now involved the last 2 weeks.
Their place kicker won their game in week 2 when they couldn't get it in the red zone back in the day when Jalen, before their quarterback was having trouble getting it in the end zone. We just don't know how good their punting game is because they don't use it.
1 punt the last 3 weeks.
I mean, Jaden Daniels is the man.
It's been real impressive.
I don't think that's an overreaction either.
Real impressive.
Look at you. What else?
All right, I think we're going to be back on the overreaction train here in a second. It was briefly floated last week, okay? But now I think we have a full-on issue. Even if Anthony Richardson is healthy, the Colts should start Joe Flacco until he loses. It's Flacco time. The Flacco-sance is back.
I don't think they went through last year waiting for Anthony Richardson to come back to bench him. I just don't believe it. And I don't think that's to their long-term benefit.
Yes, but he's not
either.
protecting himself.
Yeah, but also, when he got hurt.
And literally nothing changed. Joe Flacco came out there and was just throwing dimes.
When he got hurt, the next play, when he was out for a play, right? He's like, I'm all right. He comes back in. They ran him. It looked like it was, unless he pulled it, and then you're saying.
Took off on his own.
Right. We don't know the difference, but he had the ball running in the middle of the field 2 plays after he initially got hurt.
And then got racked.
And I know it didn't look very pretty, and they were, losers at home and then losers in Green Bay, and then, they've won their last 2. Yeah,
they beat the Steelers, man, when Justin Fields had his best game of the year.
They're not in the position of like Bryce Young was unusable, which is why they had to turn to Andy Dalton, and they'll play him until the wheels fall off. I mean, but Flacco, he is unbelievable what has happened to him or with him in the last calendar year.
It's crazy.
Is truly unbelievable. I mean, in the last full year of football between now and 1 year ago at this time.
Exactly.
He was finished. He was toast.
At home.
At home. And he basically, as I said on the flagship show, it's like me taking over a podcast for a 22-year-old who's never done it before and is in his, let's do this right, in his 8th show or her 8th show. And I'll be like, listen, the interviewing skills a little choppy, a little this. Let me come in here. Let me handle this show for you and show you how it's done.
Get your numbers up.
Right. That's the way it looks. Like, listen, kid, this RPO stuff. Even when this RPO is called that for run pass option, meaning it could be either one. I'm going to run it. And there's no option about the run. It's going to be a pass if the mesh point is not going to wind up with me keeping it and trying to.
I'm throwing this.
Take it. Make sure that the defensive end is crashed down sufficiently enough for me to pick up the first down. Like that ain't happening. It's just once again he just shows up and he starts balling out. I mean, if he played 4 quarters, he would have threatened 400 yards against the Steelers defense. That last week on this pod, you rightfully said. Are the Steelers on defense playing better than any unit on defense or offense through the first 3 weeks of the season? And we said, you bet.
Absolutely.
And we thought, here they go. Here we go. They're going into Indianapolis. But when Richardson went out, they were up. And Flacco kept him up.
Sure did.
I just think at the very end of the day, they did not sit through last year with Gardner Minshew thinking we're going to pull the kid if he struggles in the first month of the season. And we're going to start winning games with Flacco and get through 2024 and figure out how we're going to redeem our 4th overall draft choice.
But now,
in 2025.
But this wasn't a Bryce Young. Bryce Young benched for performance.
Right.
Richardson is, you could say, he's injured, so you could kind of buy that. And
even if Richardson is healthy, that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. If you're saying Richardson is unavailable in the same way that Mike Tomlin spent the first month of the season saying, well, why are we even talking about who's the starter when one of them's not available? If you're saying Richardson's not available and Flacco comes in and lights it up and he comes back and he's healthy and Shane Steichen has a question as to what to do, I still think it's Richardson's gig that they're 100% not going to give up snaps and reps and opportunities for him that were taken away from him by the injury gods last year. I just don't see it.
Okay.
But if Flacco has him 4-2, if this is a sustained absence by Richardson, the kid before he blew his shoulder out, dude, was playing.
He was. I know.
Not as accurate as Jaden Daniels, but he was a two-way threat in a way of saying, how are you going to stop this guy?
This is why you signed Flacco.
Exactly right. And why, any team that's going to be down to their backup quarterback would have been nice to have.
No doubt.
What else?
All right. So, overreaction?
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's make it 2.
But I understand why you're saying that.
Okay. Let's make it 2 for 2 then.
All right.
The 49ers don't need Christian McCaffrey to make the playoffs.
All right, that's absurd. It's so stupid. I'm just not even going to. I
want one thing.
I understand the purpose of this podcast is to dignify everything you say with a response. This is one of the first times where I'm thinking to myself, I don't even know if I should dignify that with a response. Jordan Mason is killing it. He's doing the most of his opportunity. I understand.
Make my point for me, please.
Because
he literally does everything Christian McCaffrey does.
Okay. He's not Christian McCaffrey, and very few people are.
Well, what if McCaffrey is just a system running back?
You went there. You literally didn't say that because I said that on the flagship today. Say who's going to be the first in our business to say that, and you said stay tuned until later. And I don't know, were you going to say that until I said that earlier?
I wasn't actually. I wasn't.
All right. Come on, man.
If McCaffrey misses, if it's out until
it's a month. How do we know that Jordan Mason can do this over a 16, 17 game span? How do we know that
he looks great?
Oh, he'll be healthy, right? Like he's not going to get dinged up. He's not going to have to learn how to play potentially with this or that or the other thing. You don't think McCaffrey's going to be useful?
If McCaffrey is out until December, the Niners have no shot at the playoffs?
I'm not saying they have no shot at the playoffs.
I'm saying they don't need him to make the playoffs.
In order to make the playoffs.
They don't need him. McCaffrey could sit until the playoffs, and they're fine. The Niners are going to make it. And then, boom, you have Christian McCaffrey back. That's how good Jordan Mason is. That's how good the rest of the team is around him. That's how good Brock Purdy's playing right now.
So, hold on a second. Can you put up the 49ers schedule, gents, if you don't mind, for our YouTube channel viewing audience, and I will reel it off for those who are listening to us. You don't think McCaffrey will be necessary or useful at Seattle? How about let's just, obviously Kansas City and Dallas are games in which I would suppose he would be useful. Those are week 7 and 8 home dates. The Dallas game is a Sunday nighter.
Well, they own Dallas. So
I got it.
They don't need him then.
Okay. So now week 10, November, is when they're supposed to be getting them back. Okay, so they're going to go.
That's a pretty big supposed to.
Dude, that's 5 more weeks here. We're just assuming if this thing needs time to heal and get the pain or the soreness out or whatever. You don't think at Tampa, their second game against Seattle, which they may need to avoid being swept, in Green Bay or Buffalo, which are back-to-back weeks, home for Chicago.
Second half of the year.
To avoid a sweep against the Rams on a short week Thursday night at Miami, where it's going to be nice and one would say warm.
9 games after the bye. How many of those teams are playoff teams? 2, 3?
I'm just saying that in this conference where they're 2-2, and they might go, if they're lucky, 3-1 over the next month, coming off the bye. Right? Let's say Seattle takes them out in week 6. Seattle will have a game up on them in a division that they're currently, 3-0 as this broadcast is hitting your ear gate or our YouTube channel. I'm just going to sit here and say, this is not a system quarterback we're talking about, a running back we're talking about here. Jordan Mason, to salute to you, sir.
I was just kidding, but Jordan Mason, I think, is more than capable.
In order to make the playoffs, they're going to need McCaffrey back. At some point, I don't know if Jordan Mason's going to go through the season where he'll be available every time. And there will be a time, I believe, in November or December, it'll be like, thank goodness McCaffrey's back.
Okay.
And we'll revisit. We'll put a pin in this one and then unpin it later on.
Treat him like a rookie quarterback. Just until you need him, you don't need him.
Maybe so. I understand that. That I understand.
Yeah.
But Jordan Mason has been killing it. But you might be the only person thinking that what you just threw out right there. Game Time Tickets is the spot for you to go get tickets to see anything in sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Susie and I use it. You should too. We love it. She loves, obviously on What the Football, having her own promo code.
Of course.
Yeah, she's very competitive. She thinks her promo code's better than mine.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Overreaction is our promo code. And when you use it, you get $20 off your first purchase. And when you use Game Time, you get to use their all-in pricing feature. You see your total up front, no surprise fees at checkout. You get to see the view from your seat and the panoramic view that they afford you. Game Time Picks is a new feature that makes curation to save even more money by filtering out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on the seats you're looking for. So again, download the Game Time app, create an account, use our code Overreaction, Overreaction, and you get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Visit GameTime.co for restrictions. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Second half we go.
Again, I'm propping up everyone else. I'm not taking down McCaffrey. I just want my point clarified there.
Well, you don't want the McCaffrey and 49ers stands to come after you?
Niner fans are so sensitive. I just want them to know I'm being positive to everyone else.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. To the team that they played on Sunday, it's time for the Patriots to start Drake Maye. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I think
again,
the reason
before the season, we were like, okay, great. We looked at the schedule, we mapped it out. It was Bengals, it was Jets, it was Niners. You want any part of those defenses? Understood. We're now through that gauntlet, and the Patriots are last in offense in every single category imaginable.
Right.
Okay. Put the kid out there. Make teams respect and have to defend his arm strength and the ability to push the ball downfield. The threat of his running ability. Jacoby Brissett has been a tremendous a soldier and steward for why he was brought in. Okay? It's clearly not working, and the team is not competitive in any way, shape, or form.
How about not competitive?
Offensively, they are not competitive. They are not a threat to do anything. Really.
Okay, let me give you the
start Drake Maye. Let's go. Ramp it up.
Let me give you the counterpoint here. What if Jacoby Brissett is doing exactly what he's brought in for?
To be last in offense?
Yes, to absorb the hits behind an offensive line that will not be good. Like if you are Gerard Mayo and you're looking at this with the eye that I believe he's looking at it with, which is line's not ready yet. Let's just say they need a few more games to gel together. I don't know. Let's just say the kid would have trouble protecting himself because you know how he might be seeing the field. Do you think the weapons are good enough for him? I don't believe that. The reason why Jaden Daniels works for various reasons is, one, boy, do you have a ton of experience at the collegiate level.
That's true.
That Drake Maye did not have.
That's true.
Okay. Boy, does he have weapons around him. Boy, can he keep himself
well, I mean,
can he hold on a second? Can he keep himself upright? Now he's running and taking the hits.
He's running, taking hits.
He took
hits.
one, I believe, against the Giants that freaked a lot of people out.
Yeah.
All right. So all of that together, do you think like suddenly Pop Douglas is going to be like Terry McLaurin because Drake Maye is going to find him or has the ability to find him? So these are my points that you have to make.
All right, well, I'll push back a little bit. We don't know what any of these kids could do because Jacoby can't find them.
Okay.
He can't push the ball down the field. He may be not even really seeing the field that well at all.
And unfortunately for these players that I'm saying might not be the ones who can help you evaluate Drake Maye, you're saying they're not being evaluated properly because of who's the current quarterback.
Yeah.
And I understand that. And it might be very difficult for them to know that too. But when it all comes down to it, Drake Maye is the future. And, in the same way where I said the Colts aren't going to go to Flacco if Richardson is healthy because they're not going to forfeit the opportunity to get Richardson the seasoning required that the football gods ripped from them because he got hurt the year before, I think the Patriots are willing to make sure that Drake Maye is healthy for the future and the long run, and it's fine for him to sit and watch and see all this going on because the Crafts know, even though, time is of the essence for Robert, I think that's for sure, that I think they know that they've got to, at this point in time, have him avoid the hits and everything else that Jacoby Brissett is taking. And one last question for you. Do you want Travis Hunter or not?
I do.
Because some of the wins, that you might be wanting Drake Maye to provide you might cost you that guy. Let's say.
But what is Drake Maye learning by watching Jacoby not throw to open guys and get his ass kicked every single day.
The
reason why defenses are able to tee off and just send the house at Jacoby, he's not a threat to do anything. Not a threat to push the ball down the field. Not a threat to scramble and make plays with his legs. Drake Maye played 4 minutes against the Jets. We saw him scramble for 20 yards and have a couple nice passes over the middle. Why wasn't Drake Maye out there in garbage time against the 49ers? What's the difference in the situations and the scenarios between week 3 and week 4?
Good question. I don't know. Maybe you get him out there in that way. Honestly, like, let's just say Shedeur Sanders finishes the season as well as we saw on Saturday in his game against Central Florida. Okay. Let's say he starts playing like the first overall pick in the draft that I think Dion thinks, and maybe some evaluators think that he is. Let's just say the kid from Miami is that guy.
Yeah, Cam Ward.
Okay. Let's say there are surefire, no question about it, first overall draftable quarterbacks.
Have a top 3 pick, trade down,
assets.
I get it.
Right. And the Patriots are sitting there at 1, and you can get extra picks.
That would be great.
Well, that's not the way to get it, is by putting Drake Maye out there, and then even worse, heaven forbid, suddenly he's like Anthony Richardson. So now he's not playing and rehabbing. I think it's the credit to the front office that they're not, pushing Gerard Mayo, and if they are, he's sticking to his guns right now, because you're right. The way it looks is just,
it's putrid.
But you knew it coming in. You knew it coming in.
I did know it coming in, but don't tell me it's raining and something else is happening. Like, come on. Everybody can see it.
I'll push back. Okay. I'm just saying.
All right.
Good chat, though.
It's tough.
Good talk.
Yeah, it's good talk.
What else?
All right. Speaking of quarterbacks who aren't playing, the only way Russell Wilson will play this year is for another team.
Or Justin Fields gets hurt. I mean, let's just put it this way. I'll buy this.
Do you think someone is going to make an offer for Russ?
Who would that be?
Does
Miami?
He finish the year somewhere else?
If Tua says he's not coming back, or the concussion lingers, and Snoop Huntley is not the answer.
Yeah.
In the same way that Skylar Thompson didn't look the answer before he got crushed by Seattle. Who else would be looking for a quarterback like that? I don't
Miami's
know.
A possibility, obviously.
I don't know.
But you never know what might pop up in the next couple weeks.
If you're saying the job is Justin Fields in Pittsburgh, then I'm weighing. That's not an overreaction. I'll give the stat that I gave out earlier on the flagship show. Only 9 quarterbacks in NFL history have had a game of 300 more passing yards, at least a touchdown pass, 50 yards rushing, and 2 rushing touchdowns. And Justin Fields is now officially one of them. He did that in Indianapolis. The only person who have done it twice is Steve Young, the Hall of Famer.
Yeah, if you're getting Steve Young stats.
Come on now.
Yeah.
And by the way, he's had a 90 or better passer rating in each of the starts this season. And in 6 consecutive weeks dating back to last season. That's the longest current active streak in the NFL, belongs to Justin Fields in that passer rating, if that's the sort of thing that you include as a metric to tell whether somebody's good or not.
I would not have expected that.
It requires a slide rule and some mathematical skills to figure out what a passer rating is.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, 98.3, his last 6 starts is the passer rating, a nice temperature there. And he's cut down his giveaways, 8 touchdowns and 1 interception in his last 6 starts. And his first 36, it was brutal.
So the Bears should have traded the pick again? Is that what you're saying?
I know that was my hey, there might be some, and I know he lost and Caleb Williams won.
Right.
So my prediction of what we'd be overreacting to this week of that the Bears traded the wrong guy and are playing the wrong guy.
They both can succeed.
I understand that.
Need to take that.
It's just the general gist of the show.
I know. It's fine.
But yes,
okay.
I don't think Russ is going to be the starting quarterback in Pittsburgh this year, unless Fields is hurt. So
good for Fields.
He is. He's looking. I mean, they're 3-1. Their next game is against Dallas, and if he does this on Sunday Night Football, Chris Collinsworth, the guest on our show Tuesday. I mean, seriously, he does this. There you go. Against Dallas.
Oh, baby.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be
awesome. By the way, that game's going to do a monster number. Monster number. What else?
We're officially on Jameis watch in Cleveland.
I don't know, man.
What the hell is going on with the Browns?
It's just not working. It's just not working.
The Raiders have half their defenses guys out. No Max Crosby, no Devontae.
I mean, what do you do?
Come on. How do you not win that game?
He threw a touchdown pass to Amari Cooper, 80 yards, and then the backup center's called for holding. He hit Amari Cooper in the hands on another one. He doesn't catch it. It's picked off. I don't think this is going to happen. They're 1-3. On our show later on Wednesday, I'm going to name my I'm not just my power rankings, but I'm going to name my most disappointing teams through the first 4 weeks.
They got to be on it. Right?
I'm pondering making Cleveland 1.
Yeah,
but I don't think they will be. That said,
yeah,
I don't think we're on Jameis watching Cleveland. Okay. I mean, again, that contract is so ironclad for them to get out of.
You could just,
No, you can't just,
quiche on him.
There's a C on the chest, pal. There's a C on his chest for a reason. I don't think we're on Jameis watching Cleveland. But like I said, if there's no holding on the backup center, the Browns are up. And now it's on Gardner Minshew to have to come back and win that game.
All right.
So it's not all. And again, Watson, his interception, I thought because I was in SoFi for Chiefs and Chargers.
Yeah.
I saw that he threw an interception, and I thought to myself, "Good Lord, you know what? Maybe it is Jameis time." Then I looked at the replay of it. I'm like, that's not on Watson.
Okay. Just for vibes.
Okay.
This team needs a vibe change. You know what I mean?
Oh God, does it ever? 1-3. Well, maybe the vibe change is Nick Chubb coming off of IR because apparently that's right around the corner.
Okay.
Expected to practice Wednesday. So
that's good news.
That could be a nice vibe change.
That's good news.
Because the running game is kind of, that's what makes this thing go too.
Yeah, Ford's been okay. They not too punch.
I mean, if Nick Chubb comes back and is Nick Chubb.
Well, that would be great.
He's certainly for our sleeper team.
And he's a great human, and we do need him on sleeper team. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You saw the Chiefs play on Sunday, Rich.
In person, sir.
Yeah, you saw, Rashee Rice goes down.
That was awful.
We're still have the same questions that we had last year about who the receivers are going to be. Hollywood Brown's out, and Pacheco's still, out for a little bit while. If things go south,
oh gosh,
in Miami, like they might, the Chiefs should trade back for Tyreek Hill.
First of all, that's not going to happen.
Why not? What do you mean?
It's not going to happen.
But why?
Because the Dolphins are like, what does South mean?
The South means they keep losing because they're circling the drain.
First of all,
they lose Monday night to Tennessee. Like, probable could happen, right? But Tua's not coming back this year. That could happen.
Tyreek wants no part of Kansas City, and Kansas City wants no part of him anymore.
You want to win some rings?
They've already got 2 in a row.
Yeah, but he doesn't have any. Hey, get me back there. You know what? You guys need me. I'll come back.
Let me just, first of all, it's just that's not happening. He loves it down in South Florida. What's South? Let's just say Tua is not the quarterback there anymore because of his.
And he's not getting the ball.
Concussion problem.
He's unhappy.
Well, they're going to still need Tyreek Hill for somebody else. And
they can't get him the ball.
Just to bring it all together, I mean, if the Chiefs are looking for a midseason pickup to help them, I just mentioned one of them, Amari Cooper. If things continue to go south in Cleveland or sideways in Cleveland, Cooper might be the guy. Offload him to Kansas City. That wouldn't be a bad one right there. Because I'll tell you who's not walking through that door in Kansas City is Davante Adams.
Right.
I know a lot of Jets fans are thinking maybe we can get him too. I mean, they'll have to. Hell would have to freeze over for Kansas City and the Raiders to have a conversation
Raiders
like that.
And Chiefs had a trade.
I mean, if Davante Adams went anywhere, he would have to leave the conference.
All right, I'm just throwing it out there.
What else you got?
Tyreek back.
What do you got?
All right, Rich, it was not good in MetLife yesterday. I think we kind of overreacted to the Jets' big win earlier in the season.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to make the playoffs.
That's what you're saying? They're not making the playoffs?
Jets aren't going to make the playoffs.
Okay.
Jets are not a playoff team.
If the season ended today, who would be in the playoffs in the AFC?
Yeah, they're in.
If the season ended today?
Yeah, the Jets are in.
The Jets are in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying they're not going to be in when the season ends.
You make that determination based on the fact that
3 months that they scored 9 points against the Broncos?
It wasn't good, dude.
This was your Hackett revenge game?
Hackett revenge game.
Also, is there some weird thing with Rodgers and Saleh that we're not aware of? Are they friends?
Well, that push thing that happened on the
push thing was weird.
The push thing
and
that
then
happened
what about
on
the comments after the game
on the Thursday night game
on Sunday?
Well, that was weird. I mean, Saleh basically saying about, because there were all these pre-snap penalties, and saying that that maybe back off the cadence a little bit, and that's one of Rodgers' superpowers. And just basically say, to Rodgers, let's lay off of one of your incredible superpowers, and he was just like, well, how about holding people accountable? That's not the best. And then Saleh came out on Tuesday and said, yeah, we're not going to touch the cadence. We're going to do a bunch of other stuff. I don't know. I'm going to get under that hood a little bit in a few days in London and see what's coming up. But come on, man. I know you want to be trolling on the Jets, but you sitting here and saying they're not making the playoffs at all.
If the Pats are going down, I'm taking the Jets. Is Breece Hall all right?
That one, I don't know. But it was really weird that they didn't put, their 240-pound 20-year-old, Braylon Allen.
That dude's a beast.
I don't know why they didn't put him on the goal line.
All right.
I don't know.
Right.
It was just way off. All of it was totally way off.
Just a weird rain, the weird game.
It was just weird.
Kind of
As soon as I
off.
saw it raining, all I thought to myself was, please let 8 be healthy.
He did get beat up a little bit.
I just didn't want to see.
Yeah,
I know. They're looking at his leg. He was limping around a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, he's all right. But I'm just saying, weird game.
I just need him on a plane for London.
Game. Gave me weird vibes.
Jets,
I don't know. Throwing
Vikings.
it out there.
I was hoping for 4-0 versus 3-1 because that would have been game of the day stuff.
Right.
On week 5.
In the fourth window.
In the fourth window. Again, I'm heading to London. Next show, I'll be zooming in from London. It'll be Monday night where I'll be zooming in while we do this next week. Nice. After calling Jets Vikings in London,
wine?
and then
I'll have some wine.
in Jacksonville and the Bears after that, and then I'll come back.
Booyah!
So
London.
Just a little promo for me calling some action.
Love it.
But yeah, they say they're not making the playoffs off of a week 4 loss. We're dropping into the 2-2, just the game behind the Bills, who they play on Monday Night Football,
and they're still in the playoffs. Yeah, I know.
When they come back from London, we'll see what happens.
A lot of people giving us grief for our Bills takes last week.
Which is what?
When we said the Bills were great, and then they got their butts kicked on Sunday night. I know.
Come on, man.
Week to week league.
By the way, we should say we said that about the Bills before they played the Jaguars.
I know.
Before we saw them, eat the cats.
Eating cats everywhere.
All right. What did you say you were going to overreact to?
Last week I said the Jets are the team to take out the Chiefs. That's what we were going to overreact to because I thought they'd smoke the Broncos.
Yeah. By the way, the Broncos have an underrated defense.
They do. They're 2-2 also.
7 sacks of Baker and 5 sacks of Aaron Rodgers.
And they're winning with 60 yards passing. This week I'm going to say...
What's your overreaction?
The Bengals are going to win the AFC North.
Because they're going to beat the Ravens next week?
Yes.
And people think that they're going to win the AFC North.
Correct.
Which would make them 2-3 and the Ravens 2-3, and they'd be above them in the standings.
And then who do the Steelers play?
And the Steelers play the Cowboys.
And the Cowboys beat the Steelers, and now they're only 1 game back.
That's your prediction?
That's my prediction.
You really think the Cowboys are going to go into Pittsburgh and beat the Steelers? You really think that? Deep down, in your bones, without Micah, without Tank Lawrence? Really? Okay.
I don't know. Stranger things have happened.
Hey, man.
Maybe not, but I don't know. Never know.
Stranger things have happened.
I'm saying to fit my narrative
Suddenly
of the Bengals.
Rico Dowdle's going to run like Tony Dorsett because they're back in Pittsburgh where Dorsett's from.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, because Mike McCarthy was a toll taker in Pittsburgh.
See?
He's going to start taking some. He's going to take a toll.
Hey.
On the Steelers? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying because it fits my narrative for the Bengals. That's all.
Here's my narrative.
All right.
And this just is a testament to Rich Eisen Show coordinating producer Mike Hoskins to actually type this in and and deliver it.
What are you going to do?
Bills are in trouble.
Oh, come on.
Bills are in trouble. They're going to Houston next week, and I think that's going to be a tough assignment for them. And they'll fall to 3-2. And even though it's entirely possible nobody also will be 3-2 in the division at that point in time, the Dolphins, after playing Tennessee, once this is over, will be on a bye. So, and they, as you know, need to be a game better than the Bills for them to win the division, and they do play each other again later on in Buffalo in Week 9. But the Bills will have been, I think, will have lost 2 in a row. We'll see how Houston treats them.
Primetime against the Jets.
And then primetime against the Jets, who, if they perform well in London, would be 3-2, and a lot of people will be saying, "Oh, okay."
Right.
That's my prediction. I don't know if the Jets are going to win in London. As you know, I'm not making a prediction on that sort of thing.
Of course.
I have to call that game. But that's why I'm saying the Bills lose in Houston, and suddenly that's 2 in a row. And that's what we always thought.
Yeah.
This is the team was going to be.
We did play that clip from Chris Long on the flagship show on Monday, and he talked about the Bills getting pushed around a little bit.
That they're smaller in size
a little
up front.
Undersized.
Right.
That was a little concerning. Watching that on Sunday.
This is what he's, so that's my future overreaction.
Okay.
All right, Chris, good stuff.
Good stuff, Rich.
I'm off to London. Again, I will be doing the Jets and the Vikings calling it with Kurt Warner on NFL Network. And then big podcast news here at the Rich Eisen Podcast Network. I appreciate you acting surprised since you know it's coming. I love this is why Kevin Rom said you're an actor.
Actor.
Well done. What the Football with Susie and Amy. Michael Irvin will be a guest.
Oh, all right.
Did you see him going nuts on the sideline Friday night?
Soaking wet. Soaking wet.
Oh. Soaking wet. He loves his Hurricanes, man. At any rate, and then on Wednesday, right here on our YouTube channel, you can catch it all on our YouTube channel, but also make sure you subscribe. There's a new wrestling podcast called No Contest Wrestling.
Love it.
TJ Jefferson is going to get to have his say about wrestling
for longer than 2 minutes.
For longer than 2 minutes. He's going to have as much runway as he wants. And his tag team partner on the program is O'Shea Jackson Jr.
Let's go.
He is hosting No Wrestling,
Let's go.
No Contest Wrestling every single Wednesday that will drop. Their first guest in studio is CM Punk.
Oh.
And then on Thursday, a new NBA basketball-related podcast and life-related podcast will drop. Jim Jackson joins the Rich Eisen Podcast Network every Thursday.
So cool.
Just in time for the NBA season to start rolling around. His first guest is Charles Barkley.
Hey, now.
All of it on our YouTube channel. And, of course, make sure you subscribe because we have doubled the number of our podcasts and Jacksons.
Well, tripled the Jacksons.
What do you mean?
Oh, Jefferson.
Yeah.
I thought TJ was a Jackson for a second.
What's the matter with you?
I'm all over the place.
You are just not. Are you focused on the Mets and the Braves right now? Is that what's happening?
I was earlier. The Mets came back and won.
There you go. All right. So thanks for taking in this edition of Overreaction Monday. For Chris, I'm Rich. Cheerio.
We're not Jacksons.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.